When we think about our clients, we think that we have particular clients and particular people, right? We've always heard about personas and coming up with your customer persona, but I want to take things a little bit deeper than that. What if I told you that the only client that I've ever had is human nature? Yes, the customers and clients that I have are unique. Yes, the problems they face are unique. Even some of the solutions that I help people with in a services business are unique and customized to them. But the problem set and the pattern that they're running into is the same. And that's because general patterns of human nature remain unchanged. Let me give you a quick example of that. If there was, let's say, a destination island that people loved to drive to, and the bridge to get to that island off of the coast, let's say it takes 60 minutes to drive there. Imagine somebody invented a new type of bridge that also goes from the coast to that island, but it only takes 5 minutes. What do you think that people in this area would do? Would they choose the previous bridge that takes an hour to get somewhere, or would they choose the new bridge that only takes them 5 minutes? Of course, the answer here is obvious. People would take the shorter bridge. Now, why would they do that? Well, this is where understanding human nature starts to come in play. You might take from that example and say, well, humans are impatient. That might be true. You might take from that example and use the principle, humans value their time. That might also be true. A third option might be, hey, people love novelty and they just wanted to see the new view from the new bridge. Whatever the case, the point is that when we see people take certain actions, like taking a bridge that takes them somewhere in less time, what's really at play is a deeper pattern of human nature. What's really at play is, yes, a new product that people are choosing to buy or choosing to use, but more importantly, a behavior that if we understand ahead of time, we can say, hey, we know that this is gonna work. Kunal Shah, a famous founder in India, says that most struggles of product market fit come from a poor understanding of human nature. And of course, I'd have to agree. If you are feeling frustrated by the market, if you're feeling frustrated about having customers or not having customers, it is the product that you need to focus on, but more than any product is the fundamental understanding about human nature. So what I want to do is share some tips and tricks for how you can develop a better understanding of human nature so that you can focus more on developing that skill and ability, because it's going to last you more than just any one business, more than just any one customer. This is a skill set that can last you a lifetime. So let's talk about how to do that. How can we better understand human nature as our new customer rather than any individual person or any individual product? The first thing is that we want to create and understand values. Dr. Hoffman, who is an author from the 80s and 90s, he has this interesting idea of values living on a scale. So if you think about the value or the emotion of anger or shame or guilt, he actually sees that as lower on the energy scale to something like love or kindness or gratitude. Now, why I'm talking about that is if we're thinking about human nature, there is this natural spectrum of emotions that people are going to feel. And so one way that I find I can achieve more business success in my life is simply by aligning myself with emotions and energies that are higher up on that metaphysical scale. If the culture of your business is more about dishonesty or distrust, or you're creating distrust with your customers, you're going to be at a lower energy set on the scale, and you're more likely to run into problems and issues. It makes me think about how Apple designed the inside of the iPhone to be beautiful because they knew that beauty was a value that is super important in business. That's step one. Think about the values that you are working with in your business and in your culture. The second thing that you can do is you can get to know yourself better. A great way to understand human motivation is to get a sense about your own motivations, to get a sense about your own emotions. Of course, meditation is a fantastic practice for this type of learning. But I like to think about it also in other situations. When I think about investing personally in, let's say, the stock market, there's a natural up and down of the stock market, right? Everybody is scared, suddenly everybody's elated. I like to check in with myself and just ask the question, how am I feeling right now? Am I feeling like I'm being pulled emotionally into feeling despair about the market? Am I feeling elated about the market? And that just gives me a little bit of a signal to understand what is my human nature sensing in this experience. Because if you can get to learn yourself better, it's going to be easier to understand how others might operate. The third thing to understand better about human nature is status. We are status-seeking creatures. That is just a fact of life. And there's another very interesting idea, also comes from Kunal Shah, about the stack of status and the layers of status. And so if we think about a spectrum, again, from let's say 0 to 100, some type of chart, there are things in this world that provide customers and provide people with a sense or a feeling of being higher status. I'll know what those things are, right? A Chanel bag, a Lamborghini. But what's also pretty interesting is in certain communities, those might be seen as not as much of a high status signal. Those might be a low status signal. Maybe in a different community, eating healthy, being peaceful, achieving bliss states of meditation, maybe that is high status in another type of spiritual community. The point is, products that create higher status for a customer tend to be more profitable businesses. And the reason for this is very interesting. The reason is that when people want to grow their status, when they want to move up that status ladder, and your product allows them to do that, then they're more willing to spend money to move higher up the status ladder. Why Lamborghinis and Ferraris and Chanel bags are all outrageously expensive. And it's why people are happy to pay those prices. So understand status and understand how it relates to human motivation. Fourth thing to understand to get better at understanding human nature is incentives. And of course, Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett are huge on incentives. But the thing to understand about incentives is that when the wrong incentives are in place, things can't help but break down. I think about it structurally. It's almost like if you build a house or you build a new building, but the foundation isn't properly set, it isn't properly built, you're gonna have something crumble at the top. So for business owners who are creating incentive packages for their employees, or for employees who are receiving an incentive package, if there's something that is fundamentally off, if that relationship isn't balanced, over the long run, that set of incentives is going to break down. The fifth thing that you can start to understand to get better at understanding human nature and make human nature the only customer that you ever serve is to begin to define your own principles. Once you get better at observing human nature and seeing how people respond to certain situations, you can start to come up with principles for yourself, like what I may have shared earlier of, people are wanting to find new novelty, people are wanting to find speed, people are wanting to find status. Once you can understand some of these things for yourself, you can begin to build your own set of principles. And the key thing here is once you set a principle, see how it generalizes to more than just your current customer, but also to potential future customers or just other people in the world in general. So that's it. I hope today I've convinced you to shift some of your thinking from one particular customer to one particular product, and instead understood that it's really about understanding humans. It's really understanding about the patterns that continue to recur, the types of behavior that humans tend to take. Because if you can make that your customer, human nature, I believe you can have more lasting success in your business and in your life. So what have you learned here? What challenges are you facing? And how might understanding human nature make those easier? As always, you can comment below. I'd love to chat with you there. I'm back again with another video soon. Later.